Hi folks, this is Steve, the Cardboard Cultist, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at Scoville, a 2 to 6 player game from Tasty Minstrel Games. And in Scoville, you'll be taking on the role of chili farmers, trying to grow the rarest chilies for your recipes. You'll be planting and harvesting chilies, all in order to turn your chilies into recipes to earn victory points. Turns begin with a blind auction, where you'll bid for turn order. Once turn order is determined, the rest of the round plays out over 3 phases. The first phase is the planting phase, and this is where each player will place one of their chilies onto the chili field. Now, if you're amongst the first players to plant specific colours, you'll receive a plaque which will be worth additional victory points at the end of the game. So ideally, you want to be the first to plant those rarer coloured chilies. Once each player has planted a chili, it's time for the harvesting phase, and this is where players will crossbreed and collect their chilies from the field. Players can move up to 3 spaces on a turn, and they'll be moving between the planted chilies. Every time they move between 2 chilies on the field, they'll crossbreed and harvest chilies. And there's a colour chart that determines which chilies you'll collect based on the 2 chilies you move between. So for example, moving between a red and a yellow chili will get you an orange chili. Meanwhile, moving between yellow and blue will get you green. And you're going to be trying to plot a course that nets you the rarest chilies, or the chilies you need to complete recipes. And it's worth noting, players can't double back on themselves during harvesting, and they can't pass through or share another player's location. And this makes turn order in Scoville really important, because you don't want to get blocked off from those valuable chilies. But what makes turn order so interesting in Scoville and adds so much tactical thought is that the harvesting phase is done in reverse turn order. So if you're the first to plant, you're going to be the last to harvest. After harvesting, it's time for fulfillment. And this is the phase where players will get to cash in their chilies for money or for recipes. And the aim in this phase of the game is simply to turn your resources into victory points. And during the fulfillment phase, turn order reverts back to standard. So now those that harvested first will be fulfilling last. And as a result of the shifts in turn order, you're going to be left with a lot of tactical decisions to make. Sometimes you'll want to be the first to plant, so you can be the first player to plant those rarer chilies on the board, while other times you'll actively be bidding for last place, just so you can get that first chance at harvesting. And there are yet more tactical decisions to make. Each player starts the game with 3 bonus action tiles that let them break the rules in some way. 1 tile lets you plant an additional chili during the planting phase, 1 tile lets you move an additional space during the harvesting phase, and the 3rd tile lets you double back on yourself during the harvesting phase. But each of these bonuses are going to be worth additional victory points if not cashed in. So deciding when or if to use them is going to give you plenty of extra things to think about. And so much of this game is about squeezing those extra victory points out of the situations that present themselves. Most everything you do in Scoville is going to net you some victory points, but it's those subtle choices that are going to make all the difference. Now, as a result of all these choices, players that do spend a lot of time thinking about their decisions or suffer any type of analysis paralysis are really going to struggle with this one. It's great that Scoville does offer up to 6 players, but just make sure those players are either familiar with the game already or can play at a decent pace, otherwise you're going to suffer with a lot of downtime. That said, with players that know the game fairly well, everything moves along at a decent pace. The only other criticism or point that I'd like to make you aware of is that this game really isn't suited for colourblind players. With a game that relies so heavily on colour, it's going to be a frustrating experience if you're trying to differentiate between the colours of the chilies. Now, the chilies are slightly different depths to try to help you differentiate, but it's just not enough for those that are struggling with the colours. Overall though, this is still a great tactical experience that I highly recommend you check out. But until next time, as always, take care and thanks for watching.